St. John's College's New Court, Cambridge, England. The old world clocks are all gone. They're missing. Where we go to the University of Cambridge's website and we see that this was supposedly built in 1831. But of course, the college, it has no records of an intention for a clock. The 1826 drawings, the blueprints that I don't believe were the originals at all. These blueprints don't even show the circles on the building. These circles that we can all see today. And within the next few episodes, I'm going to show the world that I don't believe that they have the blueprints at all. And I believe they're making all of this up. When I searched for the blueprints to confirm what they're telling us about the drawings, there are no public records of them. Meaning that they are telling us all about the 1826 blueprints and then never showing them to anybody. And most likely, they don't even have them. Because in my opinion, this structure was found and constructed by a previous civilization that was extremely intelligent. They were advanced. And nobody in the 1800s was suffering, riding around on wooden wheels with Seabiscuit hauling stone through the mud, and then chiseling palaces in no time at all over the world. This isn't a logical story. We saw that the university, they referenced these 1826 blueprints right on their website, supposedly drawn up by Rickman and Hutchinson, which we will be investigating because I'm sure that they were pinned to other old world structures. But we're also told that the public, you and me, we cannot access these blueprints. They're not viewable online, and they're not in any open archive databases. They're literally mentioned by a school, a scholarly source, but they're not showing any of these blueprints to the public and sourcing their own claim. Remember, when you're in school, you're getting tested on these papers and needing to source all of your information, yet they're not even doing it themselves. It's incredible. Going on to say, there are no scans, no photographs, no public reproductions of the actual blueprints where the public would be able to verify whether the tower had clocks, circles, or any mechanism spaces. So I believe at this point in our research, the way to prove completely that we are 100% correct about all of this is to continue to show the world, everybody, over and over and over. I'm going to show you all that none of these structures actually have blueprints that the public can hold and see. I want to be clear about this. If they cannot present a blueprint, then their story is completely made up and it is false. If their story was true, the blueprints of these buildings, they would be framed in the front entrances, and we all know it. So we're going to go back to Big Ben, the massive 316-foot clock tower from episode 150. And guess what? We have just ended the mainstream history forever, and there's no coming back. Here we go. Big Ben, London. There are no surviving full set of the 1850s blueprints. The UK Parliament's official archives, and ACOM's 2017 to 2022 restoration report, the one that we talked about last Saturday. They both state that no complete original construction drawings for Big Ben survive. Nothing. It's completely gone. A Gothic revival style clock tower. The blueprints are just gone. They're missing. Yet they want all of us to believe their narrative from 1859. And I promise you, I'm going to go way deeper than this in the upcoming episodes. We are told that no blueprints, no mechanical diagrams for the clock mechanism, no load-bearing calculations, no ledgers, nothing. And again, we're not talking about a shed from the 1800s. We are talking about structures that we don't even construct today in our towns. These are palaces that we're all being told were completed in a time period where people were riding around on horses. There were no shipping companies. We can see it in the pictures. People were going to the bathroom in outhouses, and we've been told that they've been wiping with their hands. We've documented this. So they just lose the blueprints of a palace. It doesn't add up at all. So let's go back to Cambridge now, because they clearly removed an old world clock from this structure. Missing blueprints. The master designers, Thomas Rickman and Henry Hutchinson, partners, we're told. Rickman, a self-taught architect, in the 1800s. He just was over there teaching himself in the shed how to draw up a palace that lasts forever. And then the blueprints just get lost in the dirt. Drawing up the St. George's Church, a self-taught architect. Incredible. Where it was, of course, demolished, leaving almost nothing to verify, where the structure contains masonry patterns identical to medieval buildings that supposedly predate him by centuries. This guy had no formal training and no surviving blueprints from anything. And his partner, Henry Hutchinson, constructing palaces before the age of 31. Because this is when he passes away. And yet again, he also has no full construction blueprints that survived. I have to ask, are you still on the fence? Missing plans. No records showing Hutchinson's actual design involvement. We are exposing this in England. I'm going to show today that this is a coordinated narrative. Every country, including the USA. We are just getting started. Welcome to episode 151 of my lunch break. I hope you're all having a great day. And if you're new, welcome. I want to thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to FlatEarthDave.com. You can check out his app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac app. I'll put the link right in the description. And you can use my referral code, MLB. If you click the Tartaria button, you'll see the My Lunch Break playlist right here. The app is awesome. Thank you to Rebecca Kay, David and Sherry Ferguson, Chuck Templeton, Joy Lee, Stephanie Nolan, the Burlesons, Charles Kruger, Dan Woodall, Dale, DJ Clicktrack, Jacob Law, Jim Ribley and Christine Duggan, Kyle Glasscock, PKTFnews.org, Ben Dries NL, Natalie Shippenoff, Melissa Edgar, Biggles, Clayton Lamar, Task Homestead, John Adams, Robert Sozolins, Attila Power, Forbidden Gecko Love, Justin Grobner Grubb, Leah Strong, Dakota Dunn, Jason Hochberg, Marie C., Michael Dingu, Patriot Armory, C3SCOB, SoniaDane.com, James Alt, Jason Press, Miggs, Mark Chapman, Muji and Declan, Ariana Oates, Nathan Burba, Ski, Beacon of Truth, Liberty's Arborist, Thomas Thorpe Peterson, Zinger Coffee and Tea, Emily Maryland, Curious Cat, Mike D, etc., Dan McGee, Lori Hedvig Johnson, Ellie Annie, Seth Craigo, Glenn Gunderson, Mousie's Mouse Cheese Records, Robert's Brain is Gone, Extreme Reality Check, Late for Dinner, Eolo Goncalves, Blake, William Richard Jeffries V, Dax Bilchek and Son, Dylan Mugenberg, Robert Petro, Katz Hill, Susie Q, Yark 143, GOL, Doc Halo, Kenneth Putt, Brenna Fernandez, Paraduction, Necrodemonics, A&W Kerrigan, Rod Wah, Sweetest of Peas, Corbin Mechanical, Making Bigfoot, Road Warrior, Bruce Latour, Codrenth, David and Irene, Ivan Apoctoli, Ardra Rogers, Brazawayan, Armin Walker, Ivan Apoctoli, Maybell, Laurel L. Burnett, Hoppy John, John and Carlo, Bill, Vince Moreno, Flat Earth Herbs, The Lady Lacey Show, Sven Eric, Tom O'Hara, Ducks MDF TFV, Gabriel Spark, Donovan Bodkin, Danya Lucas, Jeremy and Amy, The Arnolds, Henry's Mom, Digital Strategy, Earth Daughter, E. Hamure, Harvey, First Class Forklift, Bradford's Donkey Wagon Deluxe, Ernieho, Brendy's Brunna, Backyard Rob, DevlinMcGregor.com, D. Woods, Valhalla Stars, Quad 72, Tim Skin, ValleyMedicinals.com, David Torres, Lucy, Shiba Shaba in the Darkness. You guys are all awesome and helping this channel out a little. Now, I mentioned earlier that I'm going to go even deeper in upcoming episodes. Episode 154. It's coming out in 3 weeks from now. I'm going to show you how crazy this whole thing is. Something that we've all waited for up to this point. If you've watched all the episodes, this episode that's coming out, episode 154, it's going to be shocking. It's going to tie back to episode 150 in this episode as well. But anytime that anybody has any questions about this, we're all going to be able to say to anybody new, go to that episode and you'll never turn back. This community, it's about to grow to so many new people. I cannot wait to share that one with you. I can't wait for that one to be released and to show the world how incredible this whole thing is. Now, being unable to provide the blueprints to us and ultimately prove that their story is legitimate, any blueprint would do. an 1800s masterpiece, not being able to provide the most important document that shows that their story is actually the truth. It is going to be their downfall. A massive mistake by the mainstream narrative, and we have just exposed this. I have to be honest. I can't figure out why they didn't just fake it. Why didn't they just draw them up and just say they have them? Was that too much work for them? Did they think that nobody would ever ask this question? It's a massive mistake. And now I'm going to tell you what, it's too late. We are about to attack this point until the entire world understands that our timeline just began within the last 200 to 250 years. And something massive happened. An event that wiped the previous civilization out. This was a group of people that obviously understood how to construct buildings with geometry and harmonic resonance, as well as massive tunnel systems that connect all the other buildings in the area. I believe that some of these buildings were healing centers. I believe, like we've shown in the past, there was an energy that would heal people. And I do believe this is true. And they've since been taken over and used for something else. But this is when we go to India and we see this incredible structure that has a clock tower. This is the Bhadra Fort. And just take a look at this photo for a second. We have a cow over here. We have dirt roads, wooden stick fences, and then a palace in 1872. We are all told that this clock mechanism was imported from London in about 1849. They just can't seem to remember about the 1800s. But they tell us all about the 1396s to 1399s in Turkey. A complete and total mess. This is why this research is so important. We're able to go back and reference old episodes and pull it all together and show how stupid their narrative is. And then this clock in India, yet again in the 1800s, according to the Times of India, there is no verifiable record in the public domain of original mechanical installation blueprints. No blueprints again, or drawings for the setup of the tower, with recent maintenance reports saying that it's deteriorating and they don't have archival records. This is just shocking. It's the most obvious thing that would prove that they actually constructed these palaces in the 1800s. Yet it is the one thing that they don't have. This is exposing it in real time. That what we've been told is not the truth. And these structures were built by somebody else. And now let's go to Albany, New York, and show that this is going on in the USA as well, where we have the St. Patrick's Cathedral, New York, a structure that we went inside of in episode 77, constructed yet again in the 1800s, we are told, where there is no publicly accessible records of the cathedral's complete original engineering or mechanical blueprints. There are no blueprints. The mainstream narrative just can't find them anywhere. Yet again, no blueprints, no drawings, there's nothing. There's no documentation. How is this acceptable for so long? These stories need to be verified, yet there are no blueprint records available. There have been references to the architectural plans and elevations, but they have never provided or cited the full-scale structural drawings, the load-bearing calculations, or mechanical system schematics. They don't document anything. Again, I like to share my personal thoughts here. When we dug into it here, I seriously thought they were just going to show us some fake documents. But they didn't even fake the blueprints. There's just nothing. Nothing's available to the public because they just don't have any. At this point, please comment below and tell me what you're thinking. I love to hear everybody's input. It's one of the most important parts. Not having the blueprints is the main giveaway. It's literally the ultimate exposure that they did not build the building. I cannot get over the fact that they didn't just fake the blueprints. Because now, every single time we show another building that they tell us was constructed in the 1800s, this is not thousands of years ago, we're just gonna ask if they have the blueprints. Do you have the original drawings? And when they say no, we're all gonna know that their story was fake. The blueprints are basically the receipt to their claim. And they're just gonna be exposed more and more to the point that every single person watching, everybody's gonna be able to see so clearly. It's gonna be overwhelming, and I cannot wait. Today we construct boxes. I like to call it the basic box style. They literally only require using a protractor to make sure the box's corners are 90 degrees. There's no stone, there's no marble. And we use power tools. We have shipping companies and training. The level of difficulty is nothing in comparison to these old world buildings. And we've had many engineers explain this. With that being said, in modern architectural and engineering practice, blueprints, they are the foundational documents of construction. And there it is. Especially one of national or religious significance, such as cathedrals or capitol buildings. These produce hundreds of detailed sheets, foundation plans, elevations, sections, mechanical and load-bearing calculations. And later, as they're being archived, they get revised. All of this is documented. They produce the blueprints, hundreds of detailed sheets. So the question that we have to ask is, did they actually keep the records in the 1800s? Or were they just throwing away these documents after they built the palace and going home and living in their shed? And this is when the mainstream narrative falls apart even more. By the 1800s, we are told that the Industrial Revolution, they had already standardized technical documentation by 1850. Every major Western government and cathedral commission required submission of multiple signed plan sets for legal certification and payment. So where are these blueprints? They were supposedly required to document them. Why are they missing today? Where did they go? Or were these documents ever here? And before we go on, we gotta thank the Donkeys Incorporated Club. No GPS, riding their wooden wheels through the winters. The rainy days were never an issue. The wagons of the past just ripped through the mud. Stone in the back, pushing the wheels into the mud, crossing rivers and the rest. They did not care. The donkeys were just built different back then. And not one trip was ever documented according to the mainstream narrative. It's incredible. The donkeys required zero water. They had no food. They just got it done because they worked harder than the donkeys today. Thank you to all of our badge members, all of our Patreons, and every single subscriber. It's so cool to see this community grow every single day. We are on YouTube, we're on Rumble, we're on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify, if you're looking for even more content from us. I also want to show how this topic is for everybody. I got this incredible letter from a 12-year-old named Sebastian, saying that he watches this channel every single day. Watching this channel is one of his subjects. It's incredible to see the youth understand this topic at such an early age. They don't have to wait until they're 50 to see the world from a logical standpoint. Thanks, Sebastian, for your message. It's great to see that you're passionate about the truth. It's an incredible gift to have. Now, staying in New York, we have the St. John the Divine Cathedral, where it, of course, has a large fire that damaged part of the cathedral. There's no public evidence of a complete original set of engineering or mechanical blueprints yet again. This is unbelievable. No original blueprints for a cathedral built in the USA in 1892. The Library of Congress says they have architectural drawings, but they are limited to external elevations, the plans and sections for design competitions, not the technical infrastructure or construction blueprints. They don't have the construction blueprints, the actual drawings of the building itself. Again, going back to the Big Ben clock tower in London, not having the actual blueprints, yet telling us all about the ropes and weights inside that used to be there, that nobody has ever reproduced or even seen. 5-ton descending weights to keep the clock running, where they had to rewind it multiple times a week, we are told. These are just stories. They're fake stories, in my opinion. These clocks are obviously older than we're being told. They did not run on ropes and weights. There weren't guys in the basement keeping the power running. The original blueprints, they are gone. We do not have them. These characters did not draw these buildings. And these places are proving that they didn't. Because they can't even produce the original drawings to us in any country for any one of these palace structures. If the blueprints, the receipt for the building's construction, if those are missing for these 1800s cathedrals, clock towers, government buildings, then there is only one conclusion. The legal framework collapses. We showed that they were required to document the blueprints during this time period. So if they actually built these structures, then they would have the blueprints today. I've said it before, but this is not thousands of years ago. They should have legally registered blueprints, ready for all of us to see right now, but they don't. This isn't just lost paperwork. This is proving, in my opinion, that the blueprints never existed. These structures predate the official construction date, and these buildings, they were found and explained away with a quick story that makes zero sense at all when you break it down. And we are just getting started, because I think it's time that we start reaching out to these libraries, these institutes of history, these cathedrals, these palaces from the old world, and getting their excuses documented as to why they don't have the records anymore.